Make sure we are on. All right, family and friends, thank you for joining me. Don't want to take too much of your time. Make sure we're on Facebook. Yes, we are on. Don't want to take too much of your time. I know it's the weekend. We are relaxing, taking it easy. But at the end of the day, middle and the beginning of the day, I stand in agreement on your continued success and those challenges in your life, as in mine, are opportunities for us to grow stronger in more than one way and to model how to be able to grow and be an example at the minimum during those tough times. Because I can't say things about the great times, and I think we could do that ourselves, but when it's tough, sometimes we need to remind ourselves and others that we are standing in agreement on the harvest from the seeds that we go through. And so with that said, wanted to stop and just bring some insight to you, some daily insight to you for a moment. And today, and before I forget, thank you in advance for liking these videos as I'm getting to know the process. By liking these videos, it's an opportunity for us to grow in so many words and get in front of other audiences and other people. And more so, I thank you for following and liking my LDH advising. L as in Lord, D as in Donovan, H as in Hilton advising. So LDH advising. My platforms on YouTube, as well as on Facebook and LinkedIn. So on Facebook, it's LDH Advising Fringe Group. Go ahead and follow me and join me on that. On LinkedIn, it's LDH Advising on LinkedIn. And what I want to do is be able to do my lives from my LinkedIn page from my LDH Advising page on LinkedIn. But I have to get more followers, I believe. So I definitely thank you in advance on visiting those platforms and following. And so it does definitely help the situation. And so I just want to take some time out real quick, and I'm going to actually use my LinkedIn today my LinkedIn for the Moments Daily Insight discussion, hoping to stimulate your mind, bring some information out. And I'm not sure, for those that are on LinkedIn or YouTube, you might be able to see this cool mug that my eldest niece, got for me for Father's Day. I believe it says, my favorite niece gave me this mug. So I want to shout her out. She is my favorite eldest niece. And yeah, I only have 3 nieces. So my favorite eldest niece. So thank you so much. I'm going to take a sip for you. Shout out to my wife for making this awesome drink that I have here. I won't say what it is, but shout out to my niece who gave me this cool mug, and my wife for preparing the drink so I can use the mug. Huge shout out and thank you. And I think I might have a live on Facebook discussing, even on YouTube, LinkedIn, discussing fatherhood. I believe on LinkedIn as well, and YouTube, fatherhood and the role that plays in regards to modeling I want to say expectations, but I don't want to use expectations to be so harsh, because we got to be flexible in life. And that's another conversation. But ultimately, leadership, and a lot of that, leadership is demanded being a father. And so just looking at this mug and being an elder in my family and being a father myself and being a model, if I will, for generations to come, I just want to make sure that we are all, again, being the best that we can. So for my niece, stand in agreement, my wife, stand in agreement for y'all, both your continued success. And so let me get off of my Facebook Live and get back to my LinkedIn and talk about today's conversation. And again, want to shout out, really just want to thank again my niece That was a point to that. Thank my niece for the mug. It's a big point that's going to come to that, but it'll come back to me. But in the meantime, so we're here on LinkedIn. That's what it was. So I thank you in advance for just liking, following, subscribing, and sharing, my work. And then I was basically talking about that, and I saw my mug, and I wanted to give a shout out to my family. So back to the topic at hand. Thank you for sharing, following, liking, all those good things. And let's just jump right into it. I spent more than enough time, building up. And so today we're going to just talk about something that I think I may take for granted and really feel like it's a piece that can really help you increase your customer base and your presence in so many words. And that is interpersonal skills. And I just want to discover and dive deep into that for a few minutes. I don't have an agenda for this, so we're going to just go through live as if we didn't really know too much about this and just see what resonates with us to be able to, discuss, more about interpersonal skills. And so in that, I want to shout out Carolyn Clopton, Karen Clopton, excuse me, Karen Clopton, for endorsing me on LinkedIn. And if you're not following me on LinkedIn, thank you for following my work on LinkedIn, for interpersonal skills. And I felt that was so powerful. And I don't think a lot of, especially emerging leaders, really touch on that. And so we're going to, again, dive deep, do a little more discovery. And if you don't have a LinkedIn, and you're looking to serve as a professional, I think you need to maybe invest in one. So I want to give Karen the recognition that she deserves because, again, she took time out to endorse me. And a lot of times, if we know anything about certainty and legitimacy, we can buy in more for prospects. We can buy in more into someone's certainty and legitimacy by an endorsement by an endorsement from someone that we may feel are a certain bet and a legitimate bet ourselves. And so that's the power of grassroots marketing, which is what I do, which is basically helping to build strong relationships in unique areas through warm engagements. And what I mean by that is my role is to, not my role, but I have, just an audience that, certain bodies want to connect to. And we're talking about employment recruitment, workforce development, real estate development. We're talking about local business growth at the minimum. And so when you're looking at that aspect, not to get too far off track, you are really building and managing, relationships. I don't want to get too far off track. And so interpersonal skills is definitely something that, again, caught my attention. And so I wanted to jump right into it. And there's so much, I'm sure there's going to be so much to unpack in this. So I don't want to take too much time. And I'm going to write some notes down so I don't lose track of my thoughts, which happens sometimes because, there's a lot of information. So let me get my pen and paper ready real quick. Thank you all for your patience. Taking another sip. Okay, so with that said, I want to give Karen her just recognition. Thank you again for the shout out. Transforming spaces and lives, building success through people and places. I'm a believer. There was a point I was bringing up earlier. It kind of drifted away, so I just wanted to jump back in, but it's going to come in, I know, once I'm going through this profile. Karen Clopton, strategic business owner and development manager, commercial cleaning services owner, Forbes Next 100, Forbes Business Council, driving revenue growth and customer satisfaction, youth workforce and community advocate, Nashville, Tennessee, over 4,000 followers, over 500 connections. And right here, Robert Taylor, that is, that's you want to talk about a network and people who you connect that. So when I see Robert Taylor connected, that is that certainty and legitimacy that I would have because that's a mutual friend. And again, if there's someone from the outside in looking at me and want to get more information about me and they see Karen endorsing me for this area, it just brings more legitimacy and certainty to me. And so again, LinkedIn is a great way to build that brand, to build your expertise, to master and be authoritative in your niche, in your markets. And so again, Karen, thank you for your time and your endorsement. Let's talk a little bit about Karen here. I'm a strategic. This is Karen here. I'm a strategic business owner and workforce advocate with a decade of experience building strong teams, growth, revenue, and creating systems that scale. As the founder of a successful commercial cleaning company, I led a 300% revenue increase between 2021 and 2023, driven by smart vendor management, compliance expertise, and a people-first approach to leadership. Beyond business ownership, I'm deeply committed to transforming lives through workforce development and advocacy. At the Urban League of Middle Tennessee, League of Middle Tennessee, I help youth and young adults access meaningful employment, mentorship, and wraparound services. I also serve as a SCORE, shout out to SCORE, mentor, where I guide entrepreneurs in using data analysis to make clearer, more confident decisions for suitable growth. What I bring: business growth strategy, vendor and resource management, team leadership and change management, data, market and sales analysis, quality assurance and compliance, marketing, customer retention, LinkedIn lead generation, and outreach. And so I will leave it there and make sure you follow our friend Karen and her work. And again, that's why I had to step back when I'm going through the profile. I'm like, wait a minute, and so I really appreciate the endorsement. But also, again, this is a skill that I feel a lot of people that need to know about, especially emerging leaders, and a skill that I may take for granted. And I appreciate Karen recognizing that skill and endorsing me. So let's go back to that real quick. Shout out to my friend Lori Odom as well, down at the National Area Chamber of Commerce, doing huge international work, international development, bringing to the municipality and area of Nashville and Middle Tennessee. Huge shout out. So here we go. Interpersonal skills. Have 8 endorsements in that area so far. Show all 4 details. Let me just see what that looks like real quick. Okay. 8 endorsements. Got quite a few people. And so with that said, let's jump into it. Interpersonal skills. What is it? What is it? And like most things, I'll type it in, but usually I just put it in the bar. Oh wow. I'm going the long way. Here we go. Okay. What is interpersonal skills? So for someone that is just looking to get more information about interpersonal skills, and again, me recognizing that endorsement that I just received, let's look at what this is for the first time and see how much we can discover in a short amount of time. Here we go. What are interpersonal skills? Now, these are sources coming from across the web: active listening, teamwork, communication, leadership, conflict resolution, emotional intelligence, motivation, negotiation, positive attitude. Shall we go on? Patience, dependability, persuasion, feedback, networking, problem solving, diplomacy, adaptability, collaborate constructively, decision making, nonverbal communication, empathy, collaboration, flexibility, responsibility. We're going to stop. We're going to stop right here. And I appreciate when I typed in what is interpersonal skills, I thought I was going to get a definition, maybe a sentence or a paragraph, which I will jump into shortly. But I appreciate these bullet points as far as some of the branches that make up the body of interpersonal skills. So interpersonal skills, like most things in life, are going to require other indirect strengthening of other skills or branches to make that one particular skill or focus truly all it's meant to be. And I cannot deny these branches that I am consistently working on to improve and respectfully bringing in revenue from trusted brands trusting me to provide various results, be it team building, be it more customers and clients and applicants, be it more buy-in from various developments, be it housing or relocation. You mean tell me you can find a middle ground, if at all, without communication, without teamwork? You mean to tell me when someone's saying not in my backyard, and excuse me, they're bringing a whole public relations campaign, and you're not going to actively listen to what they're saying if you're on the other side and you're trying to get something done? You mean to tell me you're not going to try to uh, provide a positive attitude? And when I think of these things, a lot of these things that I'm thinking of or saying also encompasses what I would call, and this is where interpersonal skills is good to use. Interpersonal skills are good to use in, what I'm thinking out loud, community engagement. Interpersonal skills are valuable in community engagement. And so when people say, Donovan, you have good interpersonal skills because you have very, at least, standard practices in these branches, it's a skill that I need in order to provide a service, either as a consultant or working in a career for great brands and community engagement. And so imagine, if you're looking to become, more active in community engagement, how much more effective you'll be if you did master or start to develop and work on these skills. Empathy. Let's look into that real quick. Empathy, or the ability to show respect for coworkers and relate to their thoughts, emotions, and experiences, is one of the most valuable. We'll keep it there. Empathy is about understanding the way someone else is feeling and showing care and support in response to those feelings. That is so important. Even if you may not agree with someone, it's almost honoring someone's, perspective, if you will. And it's hard because sometimes we don't agree with the perspectives, and a lot of times we may have the right to not agree, but there's a certain movement, a certain action that comes from taking time out to understand the way someone else feels and to show support or professionalism, during someone's feelings, even if you may not agree with them, and that's an interpersonal skill. I can say, how does it feel for, a real estate developer? Are they looking at the fact that, respectfully, with revitalization happening in an area, and now you just purchased this property, you're going to revitalize this property and put it at market value rent, and now the person that's residing there has a X amount of day notice to vacate, either because they sold the property themselves or they're renting, and they have to move at least 45 miles out to be able to budget their housing into their cost of living if they still want to live comfortably, or maybe move out 2 hours because the area is just booming, or maybe not having had a place to go after the relocation was agreed upon and that fell through, and maybe giving someone 30 extra days. That is, and doesn't always have to be, because we're talking about commerce, so I get those rules, but at the same time, having empathy during those processes will bring, I don't know how to explain it, but it'll bring opportunity to you and grace to you. Maybe not at this point, but at some point that we may not even ever recognize. And more so, it's something that will help if you can do it, if you can afford it, because now you're talking about making sacrifices yourself in this particular case. And life is about sacrifices, and not everyone should, have to sacrifice if they don't have to. And so that's why we're hoping that individuals are investing in themselves initially so people can see your efforts and invest in you. But they let's say, for example, you agreed to move out and you wait until the last week or two to try to start that process, someone may be less likely to want to support, your challenges compared to you working with, connecting with the people that you're agreed to vacate, and they see you're actively working, you guys are, figuring it out, and you guys both realize like, wow, it's a little tougher than we thought. Okay, maybe we can do an extension for a little bit and we'll work together and try to, you know. So again, this may not always be the case, and this may not always be the ideal examples, but I'm just giving you an idea of just something in regards to empathy, you know, possibly going into workforce employment and hiring, and someone that may be eligible to gain the employment, but they have a background that may be not the best fit, and you may have a legal way out of not hiring that person, you know. But ultimately, that person is looking to turn their life around, and one way to start doing that is by staying busy, through employment. They may have made money faster and more a different way, but they're looking to turn their life around, and this is the route they're going. And this can make or break them as far as they got to have employment so they can get housing, so they can take care of their family. They may, and so being overstanding of that and saying, you know what, I'm going to give this person a chance, even though I probably got burned the last 5 times. So now I see why you don't want to do that, but just having those discernment opportunities. And empathy, I'm almost certain, goes closely with discernment and using wisdom and using decision making. Let's see if there's another word in here. Patience, positive attitude, conflict resolution. I don't see it in here, but just using, that wisdom to, see if there's a solution. Moving on. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Any comments, any questions, anything you want to bring up about interpersonal skills. But ultimately, these are all individual branches that someone has to focus on when you are looking to be a professional for yourself, representing yourself or another brand. Something else, positive attitude. Excuse me. This might think, okay, well, what does this got to do with commerce, business, and working? And positive attitude to me is just as important and at home as it is at work. And what I mean by that is you might not like going to work. And I'm speaking to myself as well. I mean, I like going to my place of employment, but ultimately when I step into that building, I'm able to put that smile on and hey, as best I can to get the money. And then, when you go home maybe to a family, you may not do the same, oh, hey, because you may not be getting currency or money, but at the same time, you're getting other things. And I feel like bringing that same positive attitude to a place of employment you may not like is just as important as bringing that same positive attitude to the house, and so that's just kind of one perspective. And, having a positive attitude at work, especially when we talk about customer service, everyone's a customer, even your coworkers. And so if you're not bringing that positive attitude, there does become more challenges and it decreases the team's dynamicism, if that's the word. Positivity. A positive attitude can make a huge difference in the workplace. Applicants and employees who exhibit positivity are a lot likely to be, click that link if you want to see more about it. As an employer, you will want to hire someone who makes the office a brighter place. People with a positive attitude are friendly, and if you can imagine, positive attitudes, employers want to hire someone who makes the office brighter. Okay, same thing. So, these are, so again, we're just starting off again because Karen endorsed me in interpersonal skills, standing behind as someone we're looking to work with me as far as employment or consulting. And so I appreciate that. So I said, let's look at that. And all these various branches popped up off the bat when it came to interpersonal skills. And these are all the things that I provide as a service, one way or another. be it through speaking, moderating, serving on panels, providing workshops or seminars, providing outsourcing consulting services in the areas of community engagement and business development, in the areas of or development in the areas of business, nonprofit growth, civics, as well, and community relations, whatever that may be, usually dealing with social services, infrastructure challenges, whatever have you. So let's go ahead and scroll down a little bit. Social skills. What is the meaning of interpersonal skills? Indeed. Let's see what Indeed says about interpersonal skills. Indeed is one of your top platforms you use for employment. And this is obviously a top place where employers are looking. And so we want to be valuable to employers. So if Indeed is providing this insight, especially when it comes to employment or hiring someone, or you're looking to hire someone, or you're looking for employment, this is a great brand and source. And as we can see, a career guide, interpersonal skills, when it comes to finding a job, stuff on your resume, going through the interview process, even dealing with your pay and salary and career growth. Interpersonal skills will be a part of that. So let's just jump into it real quick. I want to click this video, but we won't. 4 ways to improve your communication skills at work, make a real impact at work through better communication. Learn these 4 simple ways to enhance your communication skills. Let's see what this says. Interpersonal communication involves the face-to-face exchange of thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions between 2 or more people. This includes both verbal and nonverbal elements of personal interaction. Employers see candidates with interpersonal skills as they contribute to the efficiency of teamwork and business communication. And I can say respectfully, in the majority of my employment experiences, and it could be even down to general labor, and I've always, started off in a technician position, and I've been fortunate to be promoted to a management or leadership position, either be a team leader all the way to a director, whatever the case may be. And that is because I can see going off of what the definition says, especially when you're dealing with work, face-to-face engagements, between 2 or more people, both verbally and non-verbally, as far as interaction. Why do you think employers are seeking candidates with interpersonal skills to contribute to the efficiency of teamwork and business communication? Because they know that if the teamwork and the communication through business could be at its highest standard, then productivity will be at its highest standard. And as long as they can scale the right way, they're going to maximize their bottom dollar. Everyone's going to maintain employment, and investors and shareholders will be happy. Now, there's a big difference between passive income and earned income, which we've already talked about. And what we're talking about is there's a 2 difference. But again, even from an earned income perspective, we can create a system and a process that can get us out of what they call the rat race and bring in passive income. But these are all ways, earned income and using interpersonal skills is a way for us to eventually build passive income, So I don't want to take too much time, but ultimately interpersonal skills is dealing with teamwork. And I want to try to pride myself right now, and don't want to, but I bring these same branches and same skills to my personal life, to my immediate family, to my extended family. As challenging things may be, I try to bring these to the table. So it's not necessarily a career perspective and skill, but more of a lifestyle. When you can walk this into a lifestyle, then a lot of things can happen for you and help you grow, not just professionally, but personally. So interpersonal skills, these branches include teamwork, leadership, patience, responsibility, motivation, empathy, dependability, flexibility, active listening. And someone might say, this makes no sense because these are not hard skills. These are not skills that I can use to do jackhammering or to fix a pipe or to, use this forklift to get this product from this shelf to that shelf, if you will. These are not hard skills. No, these are soft skills. And these soft skills are as important, if not more important, than the hard skills, because an employer will tell you, give me someone with the soft skills or opportunity to grow in their soft skills, and I'll teach them the hard skills. I'll teach them how to fidget X, Y, and Z. But I need someone that's coachable, that is personable, that can mesh well with my team and our process, and can grow within. You know, that's what they're looking for. So these are soft skills that we're talking about. And respectfully, if we took this a step further into at-risk communities, you know, how much things could possibly turn around if we're using interpersonal skills during our day-to-day walk, you know, in at-risk communities, if you will, and more, you know, teamwork, leadership. You know, leadership could be as far as, you know, helping someone walk away from a challenge, being patient enough to allow someone to rant and rave and you get out of there, you know, being responsible to, you know, maybe you do your thing, but you're putting stuff away securely. I don't know, you know, being sensible to someone and understanding of their feelings as to why they might be behaving or acting a certain way. That could help you, you know, make a different decision that could bring a different outcome. How dependable are you with your family, you know, and being a good brother or sister, or mother or father? You know, how flexible are you with the day-to-day unforeseen circumstances? How flexible are you, you know, with recognizing, hey, I was wrong, and admitting that to your child, you know, and listening and knowing what questions to ask, you know, to be able to provide and look for solutions and opportunities for growth and mutual working relationships. These things are so powerful. And again, with those soft skills all coming together to intertwine, ultimately you can add that to any hard skill around the world as long as you know the language. You can take those same soft skills and become multilingual, and it's still the same principles with a new language. Now you doing your thing all over the world. You know, that makes sense. So we'll see if we can go through. What's your thoughts, y'all? What's your thoughts? Uh, interpersonal skills, 'cause I don't want to take too much of your time. Let me see here. So for example, let's see. So for example, I gave a shout out to Karen Clopton. Karen, if you're open, I would love to see if you're open to joining me on my podcast, Insight into Insight, All Things Societal. Insight into Insight, All Things Societal. Let me see if I can find it. Where I provide insight, which is for myself, but insight into insight. So I provide insight, but I want to connect with those that are also insightful in areas that I don't know, to provide a deeper insight or to provide another perspective. And those insights are in the areas of business, community, and civics relations. So let's see if I can find it. See if I can find it. Oops. You type in LDH podcast, I believe that's it. LDH podcast, you can find me, and make sure you subscribe. And if you don't mind me saying again, Karen, I would love for you to join me on my podcast, Insight into Insight, All Things Societal, on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, and a few other platforms. I'm growing, you know, but ultimately I know you have some good insight, and I appreciate the shout out and the love as far as the endorsement. And so, knowing that, give Karen the shout out. I believe I unpacked what interpersonal skills really means and why they matter. I don't know if I've explained why they matter more in 2025, but let me go ahead and do that right now. Why interpersonal skills matter more than ever in 2025, because you could just look around respectfully and look at where we are around the world. I don't know where you are around the world, but we'll just say you can look around and just see things are changing, if you will. either be it through unrest or be it through technological advancements. And I could be speaking here from a Western culture perspective in regards to employment and labor markets are changing, and lower skilled, respectfully, if I can not speak out of ignorance, lower skilled, lower skilled, just employment opportunities will be taken over through, automation and artificial intelligence. And there is going to be opportunities for that workforce to become more to become a technician, where they're able to still pursue a middle class to higher class direction, but they're going to have to get some kind of post-secondary education, be it through training or certification, which could be through your employment. And I've always used my story becoming a behavior therapist and then actually becoming registered as a behavior therapy through the state. I had to go through training, and the training was a 40-hour course through the company that I was working for, and I had to take the course, 40-hour course, and then I had to go to the top supervisor and exhibit my skills to show that I knew the basics. And then once my supervisor tested me and said I knew the basics, they signed off so I can legally take the state test in the state office that showed I knew the basics at least to take the test. And once I took the test, I was able to pass the test on my first try. And I became registered to where I was able to take those skills to any employment or for myself or whatever that looked like. But ultimately, that gave me a promotion, employment increase or promotion. My pay rate went up. My valuability, if that's the word, went up with other employments because there's a shortage of supply demand right now, and therefore there's a shortage of supply, so demand is high, and the pay rate goes up at the minimum. And this area is the technical field or area, is a gap where AI automation can't really touch. So there's certain technical fields that are going to still be relied on, or AI and automation is going to still rely on human touch. And going into those areas where now lower skill, respectfully, jobs are being filled by automation and artificial intelligence, and now looking at what are you going to do? Go ahead and invest a few hours or months into higher education, even if it's certification, to put yourself in a position where you are in a high demand employment market that will always be in demand. And even when even as it's in demand, it's going to shift to where you're going to have to continuously maybe learn new skills, but you'll still be in that pocket of demand. You just got to be flexible in your skills. And I'm bringing all that to say because the workforce and the workforce market and the labor market is changing with technology. And so you're going to need to be able to work with people and those decision makers to be able to get you that employment opportunity. And then you're going to want to retain that employment opportunity by being able to work with your coworkers, because the landscape of employment and industry are changing. We don't know what that looks like. And so being able to exemplify, these branches will just ultimately increase the likelihood of employment for you, as well as, clients. That's that side. You can look at it now, the civil unrest side, depending on where you are, easier said than done. I don't know all details, but each person is their own individual, if you will. And so if I'm exercising these things to a challenge, then maybe we can find a solution. If I'm looking to work with, my op, if you will, people never want to work with the op. Why would you want to work with the op? Because they're an op for a reason. But ultimately, an op could be an agreement where, well, that's your side and this is my side. And as long as we're like that, there's no problems. Now, that is something that, could still be considered teamwork, uh, flexibility, because you could cross lines. Now, that's a very extreme example, but it's an extreme example, but I try to give like a worst case scenario. But ultimately, civil unrest, or even community unrest, active listening, being patient, and how can you be patient if you feel like there was injustice? I get it. So I can't necessarily say do this or do that. But when we're walking in interpersonal skills, you just always find yourself in a position where you're just seeked for contributing to the efficiency of teamwork and business communication, and that could be in any position or area that you are in your life, if that makes sense. And so that you can actually find that particular conversation as far as where the workforce is going and using your interpersonal skills. You can actually do that by going to my, of course, the LDH advising. I don't know why, to my LDH advising channel. You want to click that, and you want to go to, we're live now, shout out. You want to go to live, I believe, and you want to check out my video where we talk about title of that video is National Academies, which is a brand, an institution, basically came up with the article, Building the Skilled Technical Workforce. It's very much a work in progress. And that's why my insight when it comes to, 2025, and why it matters more, I can really speak on a perspective of employment. I'm gonna shout out Indeed. I can really speak on employment and, what that means from the technical side. And so check out that article so everything can make sense, if you will. And I have the link to the article there. Again, thank you for liking, subscribing to my work. And so that's my thoughts for interpersonal skills going in, why they matter more than ever in 2025. I did share live screen, share some of my personal growth moments. So let me guide professionals on how to enhance their presence and relationships on LinkedIn. Whether you're an entrepreneur. Okay, so ultimately, I hope this session inspired you to elevate your social presence with intention. And if you had not knew of interpersonal skills, I want to thank again my friend. I want to thank my friend Karen Clopton for endorsing me in the area of interpersonal skills, which just inspired me to dig deeper into interpersonal skills and all that came with it. Let me know what you think, all the branches that come with it. Let me know if you want me to dive deeper into any of these branches. I would strongly suggest that you go to my website, ldhadvising.com, L as in Lord, D as in Donovan, H as in Hilton. Again, I don't know if I told you, but fun fact, I'm a registered Lord of Glencoe in the country of Scotland, courtesy of Highland Titles. And I will see if I can leave my link to my 5-minute explainer video of my lordship title and the motivation of how that was created. And just a quick disclaimer, my lordship title has nothing to do with faith-based relations at all. It's just coming from a UK, United Kingdom culture, from my understanding, in regards to being an owner of land and a professional or master in your profession. And that's what they would consider lords at that time. And maybe now, but again, this is just through this is something that stimulates minds. As far as just the registration and going to the nonprofit to do it, I do understand the implications, and it's not officially a Lord title, but at the end of the day, it's something that stimulated my mind. And if you want to see, things happen, you have to walk in that sometimes before they even are seen in the physical, so these are things that, again, this my perspectives and my uniqueness. And again, I'll leave those links there for you. But again, check out my website, ldhadvising.com, where you'll find free resources as best I can that provide training and education and insights and even engagement examples in these areas. And if you want to find out more, check out more opportunities for engagement in those areas, you can go to my YouTube channel, Hilton Elite Marketing Agency. Check out this YouTube channel, subscribing, and you can go to my playlist there And let's see. You can in the community with Hylton Marketing Agency. You want to see interpersonal skills? Just go through this playlist and look at interactions and relationships and see where these branches are being displayed. So thank you again so much for your time. Thank you for sharing, liking, subscribing, following my work. Let's get those algorithms going. Thank you for going to my Facebook and LinkedIn pages and following, liking, sharing YouTube channels as well, Instagram as well, and supporting there. Thank you for your monetary donations and the amount you felt this message was worth to you, just to ensure that we can continue on with this great daily insight opportunities. And if you have any questions, you want to elaborate more on interpersonal skills, go ahead and put them in the comments. Thank you again, Karen, for the shout out and the endorsement in interpersonal skills. I stand in agreement for your continued success in your personal life and in your professional career. Make sure you guys reach out to my friend Karen. And hopefully, Karen, you can join me on my podcast, Insight into Insight, All Things Societal. Hey, wait a minute. So Karen is here. I'm scrolling down, and there I am. So wait a minute. So let me click here. Let's get some more shout out. I recently joined a group of thought leaders in Nashville to wrap up the first quarter of the year and talk about lessons learned. These leaders spoke on time management, overcoming fear, protecting their time, scheduling out their day, and during activities to move one step closer to their goals. I was inspired by all of the speakers, but 3 takeaways resonated with me the most. In this post, we'll discuss those takeaways and how you can apply them in your life and business: time management, fear, and self-care. That's my friend, Natalie Fletcher. Huge shout out to my friend, Natalie Fletcher, as well. The event host was Natalie Fletcher with Holly Rooks Real Estate Team. Not only does this team of agents want you in the house of your dream, but they are in Nashville to serve as thought leaders for the entrepreneur in the city and looking to relocate to Nashville. And so I want to shout out Natalie Fletcher and Holly Rooks Real Estate Team. Great people. And there's Natalie there. And it looks like that's Karen there. Let me make sure. Is that Karen there? Either Karen here or here. I can't really tell. My eyes are off. But that is awesome. And so that's even more. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, my boy. Yeah, Bill. Yeah, my boy Bill McCleskey. Riley. Yeah. So these are some people. Pastor Riley Baxter, Natalie Fletcher, my man Bill McCleskey. He has an awesome story. Michael Wolf. Yeah, these are all my. Yeah. So huge to Karen. Thank you for the love and shout out. And this is where all I just wanted to do this video real quick, and there really was no agenda. So to end it with this here and not knowing and seeing how things come back around, that's what it's about. And again, thank you for following, liking, subscribing. Hey, this was a year ago. 3 really great points, Karen. This was a fun and valuable networking event. It was so great to connect with you. I hope Q3, quarter 3, 2023 is treating you well. Yeah, so huge shout out, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Peace.